The Donald Trump shakedown of corporations, specifically media corporations, continues. The Trump FCC has opened up an inquiry into CBS, who Donald Trump is in a personal litigation with in federal court in Texas. Donald Trump had asked that Texas court judge to continue some of the deadlines there, and then boop, the FCC sends a letter of inquiry to CBS to turn over their 60 Minutes raw interview with former Vice President Kamala Harris, including outtakes. And there's believed to be settlement talks that are taking place between Trump individually, personally, and CBS in the Northern District of Texas, or in the federal court in Texas. Let me just remind everybody about the sequence here, about what we're talking about even. Vice President Kamala Harris gave an interview with 60 Minutes before the election. That's part of a tradition of candidates doing interviews with 60 Minutes. Trump refused to do an interview. He was too scared to do an interview. You may remember back in 2020, he walked out of that interview with Leslie Stahl. Then Donald Trump claimed that 60 Minutes edited out a portion of the interview with Vice President Kamala Harris regarding Gaza, or regarding an issue involving the Palestinian state. 60 Minutes said we didn't edit it out. There were different formats. The full video is available here. There were promos that were cut, but promos have cuts and we have editorial discretion. But here's the full interview. We released it. Donald Trump claimed that that violated unfair business practices to him, but really what he was doing is he was judge shopping to find the federal judge in Texas who has been very favorable to MAGA on everything and has basically tortured any non-MAGA litigant who appears before that specific federal judge, and that federal judge would give the Biden administration a really tough time. So Trump gave this big headline lawsuit right before the November election, $10 billion. Any legal observer would go, this is the most ridiculous lawsuit in the world. There's zero grounds for this lawsuit. This is literally sanctionable, frivolous, the most stupidest thing ever. Pick the word that you would have about it. That's how many people, thought about it. And now, after Trump took office, he's been basically going to media company, pay up on his personal petty litigations that would otherwise be very frivolous. So the first one to kiss the ring, ABC, George Stephanopoulos, they made the $15 million payment plus $1 million in legal fees, $15 million purportedly going to the Trump library, which hasn't even been built or even kind of considered yet. Okay, then you go to this Facebook. Meta settles for like $25 million, 22 for this library, $3 million in legal fees. Now, Paramount is the parent company of CBS. They're involved in merger discussions with Skydance Media. Shari Redstone, the daughter of Sumner Redstone, she's really wanted to sell her interest to Skydance. Now, obviously, Trump's DOJ is probably saying, we're not going to approve the merger. We're going to block the merger unless you do the settlement. Then swoops in the FCC saying, we're doing an inquiry. We're going to make this expensive and brutal and cause you a lot of pain, CBS. And while all of this is taking place, Harry, I have to imagine in the background, you have the journalists, people at 60 Minutes with this serious reputation that they've had as being great journalists, probably saying, we will make sure that we tank this. We're not going along with this. So you have all these interests, I think, taking place all at once. Sorry, Harry, that was a very long intro. Let me get your take on everything.
No, it's good. Look, this is like the ultimate l'état c'est moi on Trump's part. The it's just plainly abuse of the FCC to try to influence a lawsuit based on something that happened when he wasn't president. It seems meritless from all we know anyway, but in his mind, there was a interview of Harris that was favorable to Harris. Of course, this happens every day on Fox, on OAN. That's how the news business works. If they were in the tank for that shouldn't have happened, but there's no possible defamation. He didn't try that. And just to put a finer point on this, Ben, this is now he's president, using his FCC to try to basically terrorize and get the media to sort of pony up. What is this like? It's like the first thing he got impeached for when he was president, but he reaches out to the president of Ukraine and for completely self-centered reasons, he tries to shake him down. It's what part of what happened in January 6th, trying to exploit the Department of Justice. And this would be in a normal situation, at least in pre-Trump land, this would be a criminal investigation for sure. He is absolutely not taking care. He's abusing his powers to get the FCC. This is just like with the DOJ. I mean, just write this letter that makes them a little scared, Georgia, and I'll take care of the rest with my friends in Congress. It is an outrage and a sort of moment of like crystalline corruption to be using the government, FCC, in order to plainly further his personal interests. Again, this is, if he has a grievance here, which I don't think he does, but it's when he was not even he was not an official at all. He was a candidate. He didn't like that interview. No, not even defamation. And you've mentioned it in passing, but could I just say the words that he made such a big deal about? Matt Kaczmarek, this is the judge who issued the ridiculous ruling on mifepristone, is a very right-wing, but not in a judicial way, in a policy way. And of course, who's above him? The Fifth Circuit, the craziest court generally considered out there, and then the Supreme Court, if they would take this case. So he could very easily get away with it, even though honestly this is something that could well be a criminal violation having to do with the statutes, where instead of taking care, he's using U.S. resources, U.S. enforcement, to have his own way and serve his own personal interests. The conversation that he must have had with the acting head of the FCC, send this letter, in another world, that would have gotten someone impeached or criminally convicted. And even that is completely off the table. But in terms of the just breathtaking corruption of it and the utter confusion of the governments and what the government's there for with the personal interests of Donald Trump, it's just completely stunning. Of course, so much has happened that's stunning, but it's such a clear-cut example of just, I'm going to take whatever goodies I have, whatever government levers, because I'm president, and see if I can't slap around my personal antagonists and make them kind of pay up for what they did to me personally. It's just amazing.
Harry, you mentioned what he tried to do in the first administration, and people wouldn't do it. Send this letter. Everybody remembers the big scandal where Trump tried to, put people to lead the DOJ, push out all the people, the career people at the DOJ, so the letter would be sent about finding him the votes or seizing the voting machines or saying that the states should just say that their elections were incorrect and that there'll be a new one pursuant to the DOJ edict. Remember, then the leadership of the DOJ said, no, we're not doing that, and we're all going to do a mass resign, and Trump backed down. So right now, though, Trump and Musk are firing everybody, and now they put in place the people who are writing those letters at every agency to pursue his own petty personal aims. And ultimately, while egg prices aren't going down, grocery prices aren't going down, inflation's going to go back up again. These crazy tariff threats are creating massive instability in the markets while we're firing people at the FAA, and the control tower that was in DC is understaffed. Right around the same time, there's a tragic plane crash over DC that hadn't happened in 19 years in the United States of America. While all of this is happening, you're hearing cha-ching, 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 and that's Trump taking in money from these lawsuits while he's selling meme coins and making billions of dollars off the Oval Office anyway, which is not enough to satiate his and the other oligarchs' appetite for more money at the expense of we the people. I'll give you the final word.
So it's just 100% true. You hit it on the nose as always, Ben, but it's not just that. He's leveraging his powers as chief executive of the United States in order to do this, in order to shake down CNN, who's got to be thinking. I think you're probably right. Now that they seem to be pushing back, but we saw ABC or Disney not push back, and this is really it's so blatant. And it really, in a different world, would be a crime. And this is one of the things we can see about the ongoing consequences of the U.S. Supreme Court in the immunity case. But we do a lot of these things, Ben. I really enjoy them, and often we go to the headlines. This will be today the third whatever. He's doing so much to just ransack the government that something like this, which is just for him personally, we kind of almost overlook, and yet it really is structurally identical with what got him impeached the second time around, and that was in fact the strongest bipartisan vote for removal that we've ever had. It's so blatant and so crass, and I repeat, it's for stuff he did. If any kind of claim he has, and it doesn't seem like he has one, would be when he was a private citizen. So there's just no possible excuse here. It's just the office of the presidency is Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the office of the presidency. Welcome to Putin's America. But I'll end, because it's the end of a harrowing week, and just say, all of this, we're in a big, big hole, but we start always, I think, by identifying the lie, calling out the lie, and waiting till the day comes, and I think it will, where it's clear in history and to the American people, fewer than half still support him, and they never have, that these are lies, that will be the sort of, stake in the heart, in vampires' terms, of Donald Trump. So we just have to keep fighting at that level, just starting with, it's a lie, it's a lie, it's another lie.
We're going to keep track of all of this, make sure that the headlines aren't buried by other headlines, try to let you know what you need to focus on, keep track of it, give our legal analysis of these matters to help foster the dialogue within the legal community. There's going to be lots of legal challenges that are going to be mounted, against this. And look, reading between the lines here, and this is just my opinion, seeing what's taking so long, is it seems that Redstone's daughter, who controls the estate and who controls the company right now, she wants to resolve this. She wants the merger. She wants to sail into the sunset, quite literally, with billions. The other billionaire, the Skydance, has billions of dollars, I think, through family money as well. They want to make this acquisition and they want to get it done. Oligarch deal. And then I think you have buried in there a news division that has the most incredible history. But for whatever is happening, we don't know what's happening, but you could imagine what's, I think, happening with those hosts who are basically saying, well, good luck on your merger when we tank the news division, because we're not going to go along with that. And now they're trying to figure out, how do you deal with that? That, to me, I don't know, but and Harry, we don't know, but we've handled nothing like in this dystopian world, but you can pick up on cues, and that seems to be what's happening.
Yes, it does.
Everybody, make sure you go to the Talking Feds YouTube channel, the Talking Feds podcast, the Talking Feds Substack. It's where I get my legal news from. Talking Feds YouTube, Talking Feds Substack. Talking Feds podcast. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks, Ben.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.